Patti Vasquez. It's Paul Chivari alongside Dan Schaefer.
Hello.
Filling in today for Patti. She'll be back tomorrow. She was here yesterday. It's kind of a random Tuesday off for Patti.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I think it was her birthday recently, but I'm not going to say that's the exact reason why she's gone today. Celebrating her 29th birthday. But yeah, we got a big show for you guys today. We'll get into the top stories in just a minute here, but we got a couple of guests that we're going to be talking to later on in the show. I managed to find just kind of out of nowhere, when you search, the webs, you're on Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media site du jour, and you stumble across maybe someone supplies a little bit of information, and then you go down a rabbit hole. Well, I found something, and it's an organization called FLARE, for Liberation and Resistance Everywhere, and they're like a 24/7 protest group outside of Union Station in Washington, D.C., and I got really intrigued, did a little bit more research, and I managed to find someone to talk to from there. So we'll be talking to Randy Kindle later this hour from FLARE. In the next hour, though, for those of you that know me, Paul Chivari, who's filled in a few times here, I live in the 16th Congressional District in Illinois, which is Darren LaHood's district, one of the few Republican Congress people from Illinois. And I've been trying to find someone to defeat Darren LaHood for a long time. And I've interviewed Joe Albright, who stepped up and said he's going to run. Patti interviewed Paul Nolly, who said he was going to run. And I found out that there's two other candidates, and I still have to get the fourth gentleman's name, but we're going to have Brendyn Morgan at the 6 o'clock hour. We'll be talking to him. He's a candidate in the 16th District for Congress in Illinois. And whatever you guys want to talk about.
I've been working a lot. You've been texting me all day, I got this one. I got the, you've been loading it up.
I got lucky that I was 2 for 2 reaching out, though, because I got offered a couple of people, and I was like, well, let me hold off and see what happens here.
Yeah.
I'm never this lucky. It's normally I get big leagued, I get ghosted, I get, I have ideas, and they brush me aside, but I was 2 for 2 today.
Good.
with the people
I'm
that wanted to. I didn't want to overbook it because I got you in the studio. So, and of course, I've got the callers who can reach out to us, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-WCPT. And I want you guys to chime in with stuff that you want to talk about as well. Some of the stuff that I floated to Dan was how Donald Trump thinks that he would be a quality candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, and I think we can find better candidates. Trump has claimed that he stopped 6 different wars, and we'll tell you what he thinks those are, but maybe there's some that we're not looking at. I suggested maybe the Cola Wars of the 80s. Was that something he got in the middle of?
Also, if you talk to the countries of those 6 wars, they're kind of, they're like, actually, no, he didn't really do anything.
Well, I saw Benjamin Netanyahu was one of the people that submitted a formal nomination for him.
The Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah.
Because you consider the source, really,
yeah, exactly.
Right? The president of Rwanda? Yes, let's consider the source. Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that, and of course, I want you guys to chime in with any of that, Nobel Peace Prize candidates that are more qualified, joking or real wars that you think that Donald Trump has solved, and we'll get into anything else that you want to get into. But some of the stuff that I had planned for the day was Trump was claiming that he plans to sign an executive order to end mail-in voting. The White House says that plans are underway for a future meeting between Putin and Zelensky, although Moscow or the Kremlin seems to be walking that one back a little bit. And the House Oversight Committee intends to release the Epstein files. Of course, they're going to redact what they need to first. So
we'll get to read 3 words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein, and then they'll probably just ... Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I got for the day. But Dan, how are you doing?
I'm here. The mail-in voting thing for me is interesting because, number one, he can't change that because states control their own voting regulations and policies, right? And Tom Hartman did a really nice write-up this morning about why Republicans hate mail-in voting, and basically because the Democrats will win, right? Because it's like people who work at an hourly wage, they can't stand for an hour, 6 hours to vote, right? They also can vote early, which means they can do their research. They can be like, oh, this guy actually sounds like garbage. I'm not going to vote for that person. Also, it's super secure. I mean, this whole voter fraud thing is garbage. And actually, I think the Heritage Foundation did something where they did a 10-year review, and over 100 million votes cast or whatever, there were 400 fraudulent votes
That's not that many.
It's 0.0004%.
Yeah, that won't sway an election one way or the other.
Right. And now voter suppression, on the other hand, that impacts tens of thousands of people every year. And you get to the polling place and you realize you're not on the roll. You can't stand in line to get, some places don't even have same-day voter registration. So if you're not on the roll, you can't register that day. So you can't vote. Or you can do a provisional ballot, but that's not going anywhere, as we all know. But mail-in ballots, you can mail it in 2 weeks ahead of time. If there's a discrepancy, you can look it up. And if there is an issue, you can resolve it. So then you can actually vote. They don't like it when we can vote.
Yeah.
It's because otherwise they lose. And the fact that Donald Trump is getting election advice from Putin is just also, consider, yeah, right, yeah. Exactly, yeah. The man hasn't won in a legitimate election in God knows how many years.
But that also brings up, he was saying, I think the United States is the only country that does mail-in balloting.
Not true at all.
And that's not true at all, because that was actually looked up, fact-checked as well. The various countries, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, Switzerland. Everybody has a different way that they do it, but the idea of mail-in voting is not a new thing. And if you eliminated the 2020 election and the data, because obviously it's going to be skewed in favor of mail-in voting versus in-person,
sure.
It's been trending upward, mail-in voting. And what's trending downward is in-person voting. And that's even if you eliminate the 2020 election. It's been going on for a couple of decades now that they've been kind of in reverse course. So I think this is the way that people want to vote. And not only that, even though it's a law that says you're allowed to leave work to vote, not too many employers are that understanding or nor have the coverage to allow someone to do that. I know one time there was, I think it was voting for Obama in 2012. I had to wait in line for like 2 hours, and by the time I was getting closer and closer, they already kind of declared Obama for Illinois, and they extended the poll closing a couple of hours. But it was just so frustrating that I had to stand there forever. And it's in hindsight, it's I wish I could have just dropped it off and been done with it.
And in certain states now, it's law, or it's against the law to give somebody who's standing in line for hours a bottle of water.
Yeah,
in Georgia.
Yeah,
where it's really hot.
That was a really funny plot point in Curb Your Enthusiasm, if you watched that at all. Not to play spoiler, but that was such a great episode. Kind of the entire plot line, if there was one thread through the whole season about Larry David dealing with the fallout of getting arrested in Georgia. But I didn't spoil too much for you. The season's been out for a while.
Yeah. You're fine.
But yeah, so I wanted to get into to some of that stuff, and we'll see how the day unfolds here. But yeah, just really looking forward to being able to talk to Randy Kindle and Brendyn Morgan later on in the show, and of course the callers that are already jumping in here, 773-763-9278. Of course, we've got the text line open as well. We got a text already coming in. Got a question for you, Dan, specifically. When is A. Palatini coming back, and is Meg coming with it?
It is going to be this week. I'm going to do my first recording.
Friday? Or this is separate from you appearing this week on Patty's show, right?
Separate. Yeah,
separate,
okay.
Yeah.
No, I'll do it. And it's just going to be me, Palatini with Dan. And there is no shortage of topics to talk about, obviously. And it's going to be, we're not on the airwaves, so I can use certain words.
Expletives.
It'll be fun. Yeah. And I'll post it where you can get any podcast.
Cool.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
If you're more than welcome to join.
Thank you.
At any point in time. Yeah.
When do you usually record?
Thursdays are my good days.
Gotcha.
So I'll do Thursday, part of post Friday or Saturday, and then it'll be a week lag type thing. But
cool.
No, it'll be just a quick recap of the fun times that we find ourselves in, and they just keep getting more and more fun.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. Things are good with Meg, or is she just unavailable?
Yeah, she's got her own stuff going on. So yeah,
gotcha.
So I'm just kind of taking it on my own here. Yeah,
well, it's exciting to hear that you're going to bring it back, because obviously we give you a lot of an outlet to speak your mind, but I think the world wants to hear more Dan Schaefer.
I don't know why, but sure, okay.
So 847 texter, I hope that answers your question. We're going to get to our first break here. Just want to remind you, this is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. We got Dan Schaefer and Oh, Paul's right. Oh, I'm getting told Lady B is telling me to hold off. Oh, yeah, because we're syndicated, aren't we? That's right. Because you can hear us in places like KKNW Seattle, and which is 1150 in Seattle, and then AM 950 Progressive Minnesota. So we want to thank you all for joining us on the delayed version of Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. No one ever really told me what the official clock is, so it's just nice being told in real time that it's 5:18.
Lady B will check you.
Yeah, so she will. No, she will. That's we got a great producer in the booth, and that's Lady B back in the TOC holding it down. But I guess we got time. Let's take a call from Matt in Berwyn. Matt, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I just wanted to give props out to DJT for fighting the war against MBP for MPB for 30 years now. Male pattern baldness, a lot of men are affected by it, and that man has been kicking it. He has gone with the camouflage effect with this very elaborate, swirl thing. I myself do suffer from male pattern baldness, and I went with the, it's going to be there kind of thing, so I'm just going to keep it short and trim. But, props to him for coming up with this elaborate thing, and absolutely staying away from all rain. He cannot be in rain at all.
With the thing on Donald Trump's head that protects his baldness?
Whatever that is.
Yeah, I want to say The Simpsons portrayed it as like a small Pomeranian or something that he keeps on his head.
Yeah. And then his bronzer is just going to... Yeah.
Well, Matt, thank you for the... Go ahead. Sorry.
Or he has paid for software on every camera in the U.S. to blur that area above his face.
I don't think he's that powerful, but that's an interesting take. But, Matt, thank you for getting the bit. Thank you for calling in. And for anyone else that wants to chime in on this discussion, 773-763-9278. We're talking about what are the wars that Trump has stopped. And Matt from Berwyn suggests that male pattern baldness is something that Trump has stopped, although albeit personally for himself. I mean, it's not like he's doing those commercials like Brian Urlacher is on the highway. But now I think it's officially time to head to a break here. So keep it locked here on WCPT 820, or if you're listening in KKNW Seattle. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, Dan Schaefer, and Paul Chivari filling in.
Amy Goodman reports on the news stories rarely covered by the corporate media. Democracy Now!
The UN's Humanitarian Affairs Office warned Palestinian children are at high risk of injury or death from unexploded ordnance left after more than 13 months of Israeli attacks. 8-year-old Mohammed Karmash, this is his mother.
No one was there to tell him that these are explosives that the Israelis throw.
Democracy Now! Weekday evenings at 10 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
If you or someone close to you is 50 years of age or older, you may know that doctors recommend a colonoscopy at age 50 and repeat colonoscopies every decade thereafter. Dr. Amy Knudsen is a senior scientist at the Institute for Technology Assessment at Massachusetts General Hospital. And she says new research suggests that different follow-up tests may work just as well as traditional colonoscopy.
Of all the screening strategies we looked at, from annual FOBT to virtual colonoscopy every 5 years, rescreening with colonoscopy seemed about the same number of years of life. So what's really important is getting rescreened. How you get rescreened is less important.
And it would be a big money saver for our healthcare system.
Our results suggest that over the lifetime of individuals with a negative colonoscopy, about $3 billion could be saved, rescreening with another modality.
For Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
And it's not Patti Vasquez today. It's Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti. She'll be back tomorrow. Talking about Donald Trump and the 6 wars, or 7, that he's claimed to stop. We already had one person call in with a suggestion that he stopped male pattern baldness. I was jokingly suggesting that the cola wars was something that he had stopped. We also talked a little bit about mail-in voting and Trump planning eliminate via executive order mail-in voting, which I love how many Trump supporters are for state rights, but then when it gets down to it, there's a lot of federal ideas that they want to implement.
It's also limited government. Wasn't that a conservative principle?
Yeah.
Like, keep the government out of your life. But however, we're totally fine with that, with women's rights. Like, what, where's, what? Okay.
Yeah.
It's only when it's convenient.
Right. Yeah,
really
exactly.
is.
Yeah. Let's get to the phones. Dave from Hoffman Estates wanted to talk about voting. Dave, thanks for calling.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
How come nobody mentioned that Trump and Melania voted by mail?
Oh, wow. That's a good call. I was unaware of that.
Yeah, they both voted by mail.
Now, did he use an excuse? Did he use an excuse because he just wasn't in Mar-a-Lago, or he wasn't in New York, or wherever he's registered?
I don't ever remember hearing any excuse, but I do remember it was pointed out that he and Melania voted by mail when they got at Mar-a-Lago.
And also, Trump couldn't vote in the primary because he was a registered Democrat, so he couldn't vote for himself. So back in the day, couldn't vote for himself in the primary. But yeah.
Okay, I thought it was because he was convicted, maybe.
Well, that could be too. Yeah.
But and then so you can get to others real quick. I got 2 other quickies for you. And what his concerning on the wars he defeated, but you remember he told Howard Stern he beat the war on STDs. That was his personal Vietnam.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. That's hilarious.
I feel like he was a major contributor.
With Howard Stern that time, and he did the 80s and about STDs. He said, I don't know how I didn't get STDs, and that was his personal Vietnam, he said.
I avoided STDs in the 80s. I'm seeing a boast avoiding STDs while dating. He's a brave soldier during his single years in the late 90s. That's funny.
I think that's why that one guy gave him that Purple Heart.
I'm putting that down on the list though for the things that we said he stopped. So I've got STDs that he's victorious over.
And you know the sad thing about the Purple Heart, ever since that bogus, I still call it bogus, that clipped the ear, he said they've had in fact, he had some of those Purple Heart recipients at the White House not too long ago, honoring them. And a couple of them gave them their Purple Hearts, like 3 of them.
Okay.
And last week, you remember a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, when Trump and Jerome Powell, after Jerome Powell kind of slapped them down when they were inspecting that building?
Yeah, I remember this, yeah.
And he had that hard hat on. I just wish to hear somebody play that background music, play the YMCA song.
That's good.
I got you. You'd represent the construction worker in the group, the Village People. That's great. That is great.
Yes, have a good one, guys. Thanks for
calling in, Dave. Good to hear from you. Yeah, so I'm adding to the list, the STDs as some of the wars that he stopped. Another a real one that he actually stopped was, and I know you're not a sports guy, but in the 80s there was a rival football league to the NFL called the USFL.
Okay.
It was successful because it was in the spring, but then Trump purchased the New Jersey Generals and was very influential on the ownership group, and he wanted to move the USFL to the fall to compete with the NFL, and that ended up killing the league. The USFL ended up suing the NFL in an antitrust lawsuit. The settlement was for $1.
So it sounds like Donald Trump doesn't actually know how to run anything. Okay, yeah.
No, but that's one war that he ended was the USFL versus the NFL. So I mean, he can claim victory on that one, I guess.
I do listen to your show on Sundays, though.
Oh, thank you.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I do listen to it.
Thank you. He's referring to the Sports Cubicle, which is on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. right here on this very good station.
No
WCPT.
idea what you're talking about, but I just listen.
Well, we try to inform. We try to at least cross the roads of things that might be relevant in Chicago versus things that a general listener on a progressive talk radio station might want to hear going on in the sports world. So, a lot of, maybe where business is heading or some of the controversies, kind of trying to, bring light to certain causes, but it's fun. It's a nice outlet for us to talk sports as well as try and talk about things that don't normally hear about on this station.
Makes sense.
But yeah, let's keep going with the calls here. Victor from Salem also has something to say about Trump's hair. Victor, how's it going?
Great, Paul, and who's the other guy?
We got Dan Schaefer with me.
Oh, Dan Schaefer, man, he's everywhere.
Yes,
Paul,
he is.
Apparently I am, yes.
That's good. You got to be that way in today's world. Well, I just want to say about Donald Trump's hair that it was his first wife, Ivana, that talked him into getting hair transplants. And, they use plugs and they take hair from different locations and put it on top of his head. But what happened was that it turned out so bad that in her book, Ivana Trump said that Donald Trump pulled a chunk out of her hair because he was so mad about it. And I think the problem was that they took the plugs for the hair from his ass. and that's why it looks the way it does. So if you're wondering what it looks like, now you know. But another thing, it's about Vladimir Putin telling Donald Trump to get rid of mail-in voting. Is Donald Trump an idiot?
Yes.
Doesn't he know that Vladimir Putin has been on the warpath to destroy the United States for the last 30 years, ever since the U.S. brought about the end of the USSR? So, Donald Trump should do just the opposite of what Vladimir Putin tells him to do. I mean, it's obvious that Vladimir Putin is no friend of the United States. He's an enemy of the United States, and Donald Trump embraces him like a long-lost son or something. I can't figure it out.
He rolled out the red
What do
carpet.
you think about that?
Yeah, well, he sees him in a different light than we do, and thanks for the call, Victor. Yeah, I mean, we know who Vladimir Putin is, and we know, especially when it comes to elections, who Vladimir Putin is. So any sort of advice that he wants to give Donald Trump is laughable. But of course, Trump likes him for some reason, and that's kind of odd that an aggressor, a war criminal is, besties with the guy running our country.
I think it's in Trump's best interest to like Putin, because I feel like if not, things would go very bad for Trump.
Well, and how much business have they done together before,
Precisely.
He took the White House, all the different, Trump brand in Moscow, and how long he's had a relationship with them. So, I mean, we all know what they're capable of, what they are. We only have like about a minute until we have to go to break, but it's just kind of funny to me that he meets with Putin first, then meets with Zelensky and the world leaders, and now trying to say, oh yeah, I'm setting up a meeting between the two of them, and it seems very suspect. It's funny that you're hearing like Belarus chiming in, like, oh yeah, we'll help out with that, So it's like, I think we need more third parties. We need more neutral parties to step up and get in between this, because as nice as it is that the United States wants to try and end this war, it just seems like a conflict of interest when you have one guy saying positive stuff about Vladimir Putin while simultaneously a few months ago berating the guy getting attacked in the Oval Office, and having his watchdog vice president come in and be incredibly rude to the Ukrainian president.
I think there was a reason Zelensky showed up with European leaders to be like, I'm bringing my posse.
Yeah,
and
to not be.
Now we're talking to you. You're not talking to us.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially to have, someone like Macron, being a part of that as well.
Absolutely.
So, but hey, we're going to run to a break right now. But when we come back, I want to tell you about an organization that is entirely volunteer powered. It's a movement located mere blocks from the Capitol in Washington, D.C. It's a 24/7 effort to dismantle the 47th president's fascist regime. I'm going to tell you all about that when we come back right here on Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, Paul Chivari, and Dan Schaefer filling in.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a couple of showers possible. Temperatures falling back into the upper 60s with light north winds. On Wednesday, we'll see a chance of showers in the morning, otherwise partly sunny, and a high temperature of 75 degrees. Thursday, sunny, 76 for the high temperature. Friday, sunshine with a high of 80. Saturday, sunny, high of 82. Sunday, lots of sun, and a high of 74 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
People who listen to WCPT, you are bright, you are interested, you are interesting, and you are well informed. It is a gift for me to be here, and I appreciate it every day. We obviously couldn't do this without you.
Joan Esposito, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 on WCPT 820.
This is Tony Moray. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners. And we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-996-0496. My website is moreylawoffice.com. That's Morey spelled M-O-R-E-E. Again, the phone is 847-996-0496. There is no cost or obligation for our initial discussion. I look forward to speaking with you.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Back here at the WCPT 820 studios in Chicago, it's Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti Vasquez on Driving It Home. We got someone on the line here that is an organizer for I guess an organization you'd call for liberation and resistance everywhere. It's FLAIR, a 24/7 operation that is looking to try and dismantle the Trump regime. It's Randy Kindle who joins us today. Randy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, thanks.
So first of all, what is FLAIR? I know the acronym kind of gives us a little bit of an idea, but in your words, what would you say FLAIR is?
Yeah, so FLAIR is a grassroots, donor-funded, like small donor-funded organizations of all volunteers that we have a 24/7 permitted encampment in Columbus Circle, and right outside of Union Station. So, and we run it 24/7, and we have some people that are extremely dedicated, hardworking, and passionate. Amazing individuals who are here in town with us.
And it seemed like this is kind of a relatively newly formed group. How did this come about?
Yeah, so it started off, there was an encampment there earlier in the summer. So it started as with a May Day encampment, and then May Day decided that they were going to go do more online things. And so we stuck with on-the-ground actions, and we've stayed there. And so we went ahead and incorporated ourselves into a nonprofit. So it kind of felt like a group of really passionate friends that had a permit, and so we had to incorporate. So it's been a really wonderful experience, community building with folks from all different backgrounds.
And how were you able to make this like a 24/7 operation? That's got to be something that's kind of hard to organize. Most people kind of have like the one and done sort of protest, but it seems like you guys are just kind of nonstop. How is that to organize something like that?
Yeah, so it's really tough. We're asking a lot of people, right? So because it is, sometimes in the middle of the night. That we always had two people on staff for security reasons, but Yeah, so we just depend on our volunteers. You know, it's a lot of struggle, a lot of time away from home. But you know, overall, we all of us down there, we feel like it's 100% worth it. We're willing to do this for as long as it takes, to meet our goal of removing Trump from office.
And you're in front of Union Station in Washington, D.C. Was there any sort of significance to that location?
So it is kind of an iconic, really beautiful building, right outside of the Capitol, just north of the Capitol building. And so there's a great view of the Capitol. So there's 3 very large flags, a big fountain. So the National Guard that is in town, and we'll make this clear, we have not seen the National Guard participate in any form of detention. We've not witnessed them assisting directly. The only thing we've seen them do is be props for Trump. We haven't seen them do anything, but we have witnessed ICE, DEA, FBI, Secret Service, all the other federal agencies participate in kidnappings.
And you answered my next question, but essentially, has Flair yourselves received any sort of pushback or anything from any of those entities that you talked about, as well as the DC police?
So we've been there since May 1st, and we're have not had any problems with local law enforcement. We have a good working relationship with local law enforcement. We have not had any confrontation with any of the National Guard because our policy at Flair is we don't disrespect our troops. That's what Trump does. He made them get out there on a flight line and lay down a red carpet for Putin, and we don't do that. We honor our service members, and we understand a lot of these kids don't want to be there. These young black kids from D.C. are not going to fight for a white supremacist nation, right? So we have to put this into perspective and realize that a lot of these kids don't want to be here, and they didn't sign up for this. So, so we've only witnessed and had run-ins with federal law enforcement and now local law enforcement, but they've followed our members home. They tailed us. They take our pictures. But we at Flair have a policy of loud and proud. We don't hide anything that we do. So when we go out and we confront ICE and DEA and FBI out on the streets, we have our phones out. We let them know exactly what they're doing. We ask them their name, badge number, what agency they're with, and to take off their masks. And for the majority, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just kind of laughing in response to that. Of course, they're not taking off their masks.
No, I was going to if I could chime in.
Yeah.
So on your website, you say that you keep it safe, right? You have first aid supplies and you utilize medical staff, Marshall, and all the things. And the National Guard being deployed, those individuals are there, like you said, they're just there to just kind of be there. But it is those other agencies that are actually actively, you use the word kidnapping. I like to use the word disappear. They make people just disappear. Are you able to account for individuals that suddenly just disappear off the streets?
We try our best to keep track. We do have a group. We just this morning when I got to Union Station, they had arrested someone. I didn't witness it, but a bystander had recorded it and sent me the video, and I recorded me going up and asking these quote-unquote federal agents their names, badge numbers, and to show me their faces, and they wouldn't. So, and we post all this stuff up on our Instagram to spread it as far and wide as possible. But I made sure to take pictures of his license plate and post that also. So we will also, if we see someone being detained, we will we don't approach law enforcement, but we will ask the detained person their name, and if we can call someone And we've done that a few times for folks, just to let them know that what has happened. And luckily, there was an incident last night, and luckily we were able to. He was released, but he was taken outside of Trader Joe's near Union Market in Washington, D.C., and we recorded it. We were able to get his name and number and get a hold of his family for him.
Okay. That's good. And what's interesting is I see individuals being loaded into like the equivalent of a U-Haul truck or a Penske truck or like a rental vehicle. And so taking a picture of that license plate, be curious to see who actually rented that vehicle and loaded humans into it and where did they go type thing.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the Patriot Front doing that, Yeah. And we haven't seen any overt Patriot Front, but we have video of DEA agents or federal agents praising Proud Boys. Mm-hmm. We have them, not answering questions, basically, saying that January 6th was great. So these are deputized Proud Boys that have invaded
They're all
Washington,
pardoned,
D.C.
too, also.
Yeah, they're all pardoned. Yeah.
I did see on your website you have a section of why focus on impeachment. And I know that we are facing a midterm, which, pray to God, people can actually vote and have their voices be heard, and we may retake the House. The Senate, my opinion is we can impeach him again. He's not going to get convicted in the Senate. There's no chance of us taking the Senate from a marginal portion to actually convict. But why is your focus on impeachment?
That's one of the only legal means to remove him from power. Mm-hmm. So by doing, and we're nonviolent, organization that, we pressure Congress to do their job and to impeach and convict Trump. So that's the legal way to remove him. Yeah. So that's what we advocate for.
He's already the first president to be impeached twice. So.
Yeah. But a lot of our philosophy is, we need it all, right? So you need those people putting pressure on Congress. You need the people out in the streets. You need the witnesses. We need witnesses now more than ever, and the best tool you have is your phone and your voice. And then, we also need musicians and artists and poets and, all these things that create a community, right? Because this is what we're fighting for. This is what they don't want, right? They don't want people to connect, and they don't want people to be educated. And so that's what we encourage people to do is, to resist is, be part of your community and be a witness for people around you and take care of each other.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking with Randy Kindle, who is an organizer with FLAIR, which is a nonviolent anti-fascist group in Washington, D.C. Winter is coming up very soon. I mean, I know it's only August, but I mean, it's going to be just around the corner. How is FLAIR going to prepare for the winter months? Because, in Chicago, we get blizzards, but I see sometimes D.C. it can get quite snowy, quite cold over there. How are you guys preparing?
So we just braved the August heat, 100-plus days, multiple days in a row. So we've kept cool. We kind of expect the same with the winter. We do have tents out there, so we're not going to be freezing. We're not going to be covered in snow. So we're hoping, it's not going to be quite as bad. But if it is, we're going to be there. We'll sleep in igloos.
And
that's what it takes.
You made it a point to mention that you were a United States Air Force veteran, and it's not typical that you see someone that's a veteran that's so kind of outspoken with an anti-fascist movement or not supporting Donald Trump. How did you kind of get into that line of thinking, kind of against the grain of what you see from a lot of veterans?
Yeah, well, I would say that actually a lot of the veterans are basically the same as average citizens, maybe a little bit more conservative, but for the most part, you have a big mix. But I kind of, got into this when I used my GI Bill and went and I have a master's in international peace and conflict resolution, focusing on genocide and mass atrocity prevention. So this is kind of what I'm extremely passionate about, right? So this anti-fascist, genocide, mass atrocity. So I've been passionate and speaking about this for the past, 20 years, working in, various areas of either organizing or with the government or with, some other NGOs. And actually, most recently, I was with the EPA and the Office of Environmental Justice, where I, as an environmental protection specialist, working with some community-based organizations to do environmental justice work. And now that the big beautiful bill has passed, all that money has been rescinded. So all the projects that we had going out are now gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, we got to let you go because we've come up on time. But before we let you go, how can we help? I mean, you just mentioned that some of the funding getting cut. What can people do to help Flare?
To help Flare, we have a lot going on right now. The best thing for people to do is to go out and get educated. If go out into your neighborhood and record, be a witness for your neighbors. If you want to contribute to Flare, you can go to flareusa.org and contribute. We also follow us on Instagram, which we're Flare USA on Instagram, or mine is Blue Laced Boots on Instagram. And people can follow us and check out what we're doing. They can, if they want to spread the word on social media, but mostly call your representatives and put pressure on them to do the right thing and impeach Trump.
Well, thank you so much, Randy. That was awesome to talk to you. Thank you so much, too, for the last-minute booking, too. It was so glad that I was able to get in touch with you. And thank Lee as well from Flare, because she was really helpful in making this happen today. But don't be a stranger. We want to talk to you again. We want to keep in touch with you guys.
Definitely. Call anytime. I'm more than happy to speak out.
All right. That was Randy Kindle volunteering his time and showing up today on the show to tell us about Flare for liberation and resistance everywhere. Like he said, flareusa.org, as well as at FlareUSA on the socials. And follow Randy at Blue Laced Boots on Instagram. I love that the handle. Yeah, I say I don't even know the terminology anymore.
Kids are calling it these
days.
Yeah,
I'm so old school. But hey, we got to head to a break here. When we come back, let's talk to some of the people on the line. Jim's been holding on, so Jim, stay on. We're going to be talking to you soon. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, Dan Schaefer, and Paul Chivari filling in.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
These days, it seems like everyone is obsessed with eating as much protein as possible. And I will say this, just about every nutritionist I've talked to agrees that Americans really are probably getting more than enough protein in their diet. Look, protein is an essential macronutrient, no question. The problem is that in order to consume more protein, many people end up eating less of something else. Some research, for example, finds 90% of Americans are deficient in fiber. That is something we should increase. I talked about all this with Dr. Tim Spector, a genetic epidemiologist, on a recent episode of my podcast, Chasing Life. He says if you're looking to add more high-quality protein to your diet without making other sacrifices, try adding beans to more of your meals. Eat more whole grains, nuts, and seeds. And soy, he said, is one of the most complete proteins in the plant world. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
More fiber and laxatives, eh? Who are you? I'm future you. Future me? Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Our doctor figured it out. It's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Patty's out today. She'll be back tomorrow. It's Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer filling in. Want to thank you all for joining us on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Alternative Talk KKNW Seattle. And in the next hour, AM 950 Progressive Minnesota. We just got done talking to Randy Kindle from Flair for Liberation and Resistance Everywhere. We forgot to mention some of the daily things that they do. Every Saturday, they have the Trumpstein takedown in Lafayette Square. Every Friday, the Fox takedown at the North Capitol Street in Washington, D.C. Every Monday, they say, make some noise at the Nazi headquarters as they go after the Heritage Foundation at 4 p.m. every Monday. But yeah, check out their website, flairusa.org, where you can find more information about that, about how you can help them. And if you're in D.C., how you can be involved on the ground with them. But wanted to get to the phone calls. We got Jim, who's been patiently waiting on the line. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Gentlemen, have a terrific show so far. I was going to say, let your minds drift back to the first impeachment. When Lieutenant Benman, the intelligence officer, blew the whistle on Trump when he tried to blackmail Zelensky. Mm-hmm. Now, what he did in that effort was the money was already appropriated to Ukraine. She had no business hanging it over his head, but he's so criminally insane that he just wanted dope on the Biden crime family. That was Republican pitch. That was their pitch. But you think about there were so many Russians involved in that. It was like Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. Now he had Paul Manafort, who was his manager. He got pinched. He's in jail. Who was the other guy? He's always against immigration. No, he's on Breitbart. What's his name?
Oh, Steve Bannon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's another guy who stole about $200 or $300 from the wall, pulling the wall. He stole it, and he got pinched for it. But naturally, he didn't go to jail either, because these people don't go to jail.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't he go to jail? I thought Bannon did.
No, he got pinched for $200 or $300. He never went to court for that. He went to court for ignoring the summons, but for the actual crime, he never did any time for that.
Gotcha.
But anyway, but the whole outfit doesn't do that. And if I really could about voting, now New York has this ranked choice voting down to a science now, and that's why this mayor, who's got a lot of potential in my mind, because he's talking about rent control and things that are germane to New Yorkers. And ranked choice voting, now the Irish have had that since their inception, since they blew the yoke of the English off. They've had ranked choice voting, and they're ranked 7th in the world in democracy. Now we've sunk down to about 30 in the 30s, if you believe this, the United States of America. We're supposed to be exporting democracy, and here we're sinking lower and lower in it.
I'm kind of shocked that we're as high as 30 right now.
It's like
No.
Titanic,
Well, so am I. Yes, so am I, because the way it's going. But still, I have all the faith in the American people, because I don't care. They gerrymander. Texas can gerrymander. Florida can gerrymander. But we can also gerrymander. And it's. I know the the Democratic governors know that this is a peculiar time in history, and that we have to get the midterms.
Yeah.
And then again, as you guys said, they'll impeach Trump. But what this time we'll have the Epstein file. Will have his use of pardons, how he could pardon insurrectionists and so on and so forth. The point is, it gets out to the American public, and as much as they try to distort reality has to come back. I hope you guys agree. I mean, it has to come back at some point in the American experiment. It has to come back. But anyway, you guys have a great show, and thanks for taking my call, guys. Thank you.
Jim.
Thank you,
I
Jim.
like your call back to reality. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
You're the optimist. I'm the pessimist. But yes, I like your call back to reality.
The important part, though, is people got to get informed. I think the reason why we're in the position we're in is just people don't really want to immerse themselves in what is going on and dig deeper than what the face value news, item might be, or the TikTok video, or what have you.
Yeah.
But I think people just really only have about one or two layers of information and don't really dive deeper into the hows and whys and who they should really vote for. And then, of course, there's the the typical response where you're, well, both sides do it. And it's like, there may be things like gerrymandering, maybe something that both sides do.
It's
okay?
not wrong.
It's not, well, I don't like what California's doing, but considering Texas wants to do what they're doing, fine. Then this is unfortunately going to turn into a gerrymandering civil war with all the different states. But ideally, when you push away all these nonpartisan organizations and the people that are doing all of the hard work and not listening to them, you're going to end up in the position that we're in right now. But it's going to take the American people just really getting down to it and figuring out what do they stand for, what is actually going on, and who best represents their interests. And it's just crazy to me that people that thought that their egg prices were going to get lower thought Donald Trump was going to be their savior, when that's an absurd belief to begin with.
Beef prices are escalating.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
gas is $3.45 a gallon in the suburbs, not in the city. $3.45 in the city. It's like $3.90. Yeah. I thought that the Israeli war was going to be done within 24 hours.
Ukraine, Ukraine
within 24 hours. What? Where? What? Who? Okay.
One of the things that bothered me about candidate Trump with the Ukraine war was the fact that he doesn't have to be in office to be a diplomat. We've seen people that have been out of office be diplomats. And, of course, like we said earlier, the relationship that Trump has with Putin, he could have been working on this the entire time. And how much better of a candidate would he have looked like had he been trying to solve that without having to...
Without his own
interests or parlay in the office of the White House to...
Reagan did the same thing with Iran-Contra, which was illegal.
Well, Iran-Contra, with the hostage release on Inauguration Day.
Cost car to the presidency. That allegedly. But if you are not in public office and you are asked to go act in public office by the president, which I think they sent Clinton to do something they sent Carter. If the president asks you to go and be a diplomat, that's cool, but you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'd imagine that if Trump was talking to Putin outside of the office, at the very least creating the dialogue that could nothing public, that's for sure.
Allegedly. Sorry.
Hey, but we got to get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to, it's always been my personal goal to talk to every Democratic candidate that's in the Illinois 16th district, and we're going to be talking to one of the candidates when we come up next, Brendyn Morgan. It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. You got Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the mid-1800s, many American women were expected to follow what history calls the cult of true womanhood, where men would go off to work and women would stay home, taking care of the house, their children, and husbands. During the Civil War, many women left their homes to join the fight. Thousands of women from the North and South volunteered to join brigades. while over 400 women disguised themselves as men to fight in the war. In the Union, 20,000 white and African American women worked as nurses, traveling from hospital to hospital, offering care to wounded soldiers, even helping to convince the government to create United States Sanitary Commission to create a preventive, hygienic, and sanitary service for the benefit of the Army. During the Civil War, women were faced with new duties, challenging many men's minds to what should be a proper woman's place.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it hard to fight the flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Senator Lindsey Graham says President Trump is willing to crush Russia's economy with sanctions if President Vladimir Putin refuses to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The South Carolina Republican says he spoke with Trump this morning after Monday's meetings at the White House with Zelensky and several European leaders. The president told Fox News channels Fox and Friends Russia and Ukraine need to reach a deal quickly.
They're losing, think of it, 5,000 to 7,000 a week. So even these guys, they'll say, okay, let's meet next week. I say, you can't meet next week. Next week, you're going to have 7,000 more dead people. You can't do that.
Meantime, Lisa Dwyer reports on the deployment of 3 U.S. destroyers.
As President Trump pushes for using the military to thwart cartels, 3 Aegis-guided missile destroyers are being deployed to the waters off Venezuela. The USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, and USS Sampson are expected to arrive over the course of, quote, several months. In February, Trump's administration designated Venezuela's Trinidad Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization and has stepped up immigration enforcement against alleged gang members. Earlier this month, the Trump administration announced it was doubling to $50 million, a reward for the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, accusing him of being one of the world's largest narco-traffickers and working with cartels to flood the U.S. with fentanyl-laced cocaine. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Hurricane Aaron stirring up treacherous waves that already have led to dozens of water rescues and shut down beaches along the East Coast. National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brendyn.
We've now issued a storm surge warning for the Outer Banks of North Carolina from Cape Lookout up through Cape Hatteras, all the rest of Dare County up to Duck. This means there's the danger of life-threatening inundation of 2 to 4 feet of inundation above ground level.
Rip current warnings are posted from Florida to New England. This is AP News. A golf course owned by President Trump's returning to the PGA Tour rotation. Gethin Coolbaugh has details.
Trump Doral in Florida is back on the PGA Tour schedule for the first time in 10 years. The Miami Championship in early May will be a $20 million signature event. Players will have a 6-week stretch that starts with the Masters and ends with the PGA Championship, with 3 $20 million events in between. Players who aren't eligible for the biggest events might have only 2 tournaments for which they are eligible. The PGA Tour lost the Barracuda Championship in Lake Tahoe opposite the British Open. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
And the Boston Celtics have a new owner, private equity mogul Bill Chisholm. His offer valued the franchise at more than $6.1 billion. The Celtics were put on the market last summer, soon after winning their record 18th NBA championship. There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a couple of showers possible. Temperatures falling back into the upper 60s with light north winds. On Wednesday, we'll see a chance of showers in the morning, otherwise partly sunny, and a high temperature of 75 degrees. Thursday, sunny, 76 for the high temperature. Friday, sunshine with a high of 80. Saturday, sunny, high of 82. Sunday, lots of sun, and a high of 74 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
The far left anti-ICE riots.
Republicans are so dumb. Because at WCPT, we go to Riot Fest to riot, baby! Riot Fest is back in Douglas Park, September 19th through the 21st. Come see all your favorite bands, Blink-182, Alkaline Trio, Weird Al Yankovic, Weezer, Green Day, and many more. Tickets are still on sale at riotfest.org, but lucky for you, if you join the WCPT 820 Club, WCPT will send you to Riot Fest! Riot Fest, September 19th through the 21st at Douglas Park in Chicago.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
It's not Patti today. It's Paul Chivari alongside Dan Schaefer. Patti's going to be back tomorrow, though. Her guests are going to include Alana Vagianos and Brittany Ruland, who'll be joining her. And on the Credo mobile and text line, I've got someone who is far from Illinois' typical candidate. He offers a refreshingly educated perspective that departs from the status quo, which is exactly the brand of leadership that America needs. His name is Brendyn Morgan, and he joins us right now. Brendyn, thank you so much for joining the show.
Hi, yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
So I kind of heard about there was a candidate forum in Rockford, I think over the last weekend, with most of the candidates, not all of the Democratic candidates, running in the 16th congressional district that is held by Republican Darren LaHood. And you guys were able to kind of put yourselves out there, tell us what you're all about, and kind of introduce yourselves to us. And that's how I learned that you were running, because I already knew about Joe Albright and Paul Nolly, but I'm still learning about you. So tell me a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, obviously I am a brand spanking new candidate in this race here, but honestly, I'm running based off my conviction. You know, I am a veteran, and so I did take a sworn oath to protect the USA. And, you know, I'm tired of seeing real people get tossed around, but I see more than just the negatives. I see the future we can create based off of equity, and it inspires me. My story, I'm the son of an Indian immigrant. He moved here when he was very young and married a black woman. She, you know, they split when we were younger, but my mom was a very, very huge inspiration in my life. She was a nursing student, mom of 4 boys. I was the oldest. You know, we were growing up in the Y2K age. And I watched my loved ones grind so much, only to find out that everything they were grinding for was kind of a false promise. You know, I studied politics during the Obama era, and I served in the military under Trump, and I learned business during the Biden era. And, you know, now I'm watching Americans struggle again under Donald Trump. And that conviction and that oath that I swore to the United States is it just won't let me ignore it any longer. And so now I'm chasing my dreams, and hopefully the people of Illinois can see that I'm here to represent them on the national forefront.
And you seem like you're kind of maybe one of the younger candidates out of the group, but I've kind of looking at your website. Looks like you've got a family, you know, a couple of boys that aren't exactly infants. Looks like they're kind of grown up as well. Kind of tell us about your family background.
Yeah, of course. So the picture that you're seeing, I'm sure, is the one with my mom and my 4 brothers there. So obviously on the 2 flanks, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, that's myself on the far right and then my twin brother on the far left. He is actually a huge inspiration for me. If I haven't made it abundantly clear, he is a gay man. And so a lot of my policy and a lot of the things that I have built my platform upon has been to kind of make him and people like him proud and make them understand that there is a place for them in America and in governance. And he's just been, you know, honestly, my road dog since we've been born. Obviously, we're twins. And then I've got 2 younger brothers. It's funny that you say that. I'm actually the oldest, but I'm also the smallest. So the next youngest brother after my twin, he's about 9 years younger than me, but he is about 6'4", 6'5" now. So he towers over me. He's a hardworking kid. His name's Reagan. And then we've got one younger brother. His name is Jagger. He is, you know, the sports kid, the popular kid. He loves video games and all. So that's pretty much my family dynamic for my you know, closest siblings and my mom. I also have a wonderful stepfather. His name is Jeff. My parents just got married not too long ago, so it's a really exciting new chapter for my mom. And you know, we're all kind of exploring how we can grow our family throughout the United States. We've kind of relocated all over the place, and this is one way that I think is a huge connector for us to kind of bridge that distance gap that we've been experiencing. And they've been a huge rock for me throughout this whole process.
And you served in the Army?
Yes, yeah, I was in the Army's 3rd Special Forces Group. Kind of a wild story, but I've only ever been in one unit, and not many service members can say that. Normally, you're bouncing around every 3 years. But I was in 3rd Group. I was an enabler for the entire 6 and some change years that I was in.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Brendyn, thank you for your service. I was looking at your website. Served in the U.S. Army. I feel cynical in saying this, but every elected official is like, we need to take care of our veterans. We need to take care of our veterans. We need to take care of our veterans. I've been hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. However, we are now giving trillions of dollars in tax cuts to people that don't need them, a $200 million ballroom at the White House, funds that could be given to our veterans. You are proposing a pilot program, the Federal Service Corps, which is offering to kind of help service members transition into in-demand stateside careers once they come back.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? Because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a newer idea of mine, a little bit more fringe, but essentially I look at the gaps between service and the VA and see so many people in that category, in that space there, that are kind of floating around in limbo, and they're not really getting the transition services they need with the current setup. And I find veterans, just like myself, struggle to find work that, was meaningful and fulfilling for a very, very long time after getting out. And it was kind of a slap in the face because, we spent all this time and this money and this effort sacrificing to become really professionals in all these various different fields. A lot of people don't understand that the military isn't just a war machine. And so when we come back to the civilian workforce with, all these crazy skills and these high-level perspectives on things, we need to be able to harness that in a way that benefits the American people and also takes care of our vets. A lot of veterans don't want to get out and just, go sit on the couch or chill. A lot of veterans get out and we want to work, we want to contribute, we want to keep serving our nation. We just can't do it overseas anymore. And so this proposal of a federal service corps is kind of that bridge between the gap of federal service and civilian service. So right now in America, we have shortages in a lot of high skill and high labor trades. Transportation, we've got a national public school driver shortage. We've got national trade shortages. And so these areas are things that the U.S. government can supplement while also taking care of the veterans and the service members that weren't exactly able to complete their contract. And so essentially this allows them to receive funding while also contributing and generating income and supporting our GDP that, again, would turn around and go to serving programs and funding programs like the VA and like healthcare assets for veterans. So it's kind of this, cyclic relationship between putting veterans to work and utilizing their services in a way that actually benefits the country.
I think it's great. It sounds awesome.
I see on your website.
Thank you. Yes, it's definitely sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say it's definitely just a kind of a hybridization of a lot of different ideas that I've had about, tackling the wage gap, tackling unemployment, tackling veteran homelessness. And I truly think that this is a really, really huge way that we can do that in a beneficial manner for all of America.
We're speaking with Brendyn Morgan, who's a candidate for U.S. Congress in Illinois' 16th District. And Brendyn, you were kind of getting into it, the different sort of things that you stand for. And on your website, you've got, your thoughts on the working class, agriculture, veterans, gun violence, government trust. What's kind of the most important thing that you want to tackle? If it was like day one and you got to make your wish in Congress, what's like the first thing that you want to go for?
Oh, I think my day one is the same as just about anybody else out there at this point. We have got to reverse this big, ugly bill. When we're looking at the huge amounts of people that have just lost their health care and lost their access to health care, to include our seniors that are about to be turned away from nursing homes in the next coming weeks, we have to really weigh those severe implications of what this big, ugly bill means for Americans. And to be frank, it has lethal implications. There will be a casualty rate because of this. And so that is my first order of business is tackling the big, ugly bill and refunding the programs that they have just gutted that save American lives.
And when you look at the map of Illinois' 16th district, it's kind of a weird, gerrymandered district that it dances around like every major city in central Illinois, the north central area. Put in your words what the 16th district is to you.
The 16th district, and as we all know, this could change very soon with the gerrymandering battle that's going on. But right now, to me, I don't look at it as a shape. I see it more as a people. And I understand that gerrymandering has a way of kind of separating the homogeneous nature into heterogeneous districts. But the culture of District 16 is definitely working class. It's definitely farmers. It's definitely, your real American, your real average Joe, as some would say, where, we're just out here, we're working, we're contributing, we're taking care of our families. And, we're not a super rich district. Our median range of income is about 80 grand. And so there are a lot of people that are struggling financially. It is also a very, very staunch Republican district. We're an R+11, I believe, on the scale. And so it is an obstacle that I'm going to have to tackle, bridging that ideological gap and really driving home the point that I am a candidate for the people. I am not a partisan puppet. I really am a person that looks at the needs and the specifics in District 16 and says, what can we do to actually benefit us while also driving progressive change in American policy?
How do you plan to bridge that gap? Because there are individuals that are on one side hard, and then there's the middle ground. Honestly, I feel like it's a conversation that needs to happen, and we have the same shared values. Is that kind of what your approach would be?
Yes, 100%. So when we look at the way politics are today, I think I mentioned yesterday that it's definitely like we're at the edge of a cliff right now. Voting is so high pressure because we're so polarized. And what I've noticed with a lot of the pundits is that we're all saying the same thing. We all want the same thing generally, a comfortable life, ease of access to institutions for our families and our loved ones, and the choice to just pursue freedom. And so I think by driving that message to Republicans, frankly, in a way that really cuts out the BS and lets them know that we are related in values. And so I plan to win them over by just being honest and communicative and proactive, And to be fair, the Republicans are doing half the job for me. They've been screwing us over at least since COVID, and so it's not very hard to paint that picture of, hey, they're doing the things that you think we're going to do. And so when I look at Darren LaHood and the ways that he's ignored his district, I think that is a great starting point of just actually going out and facing your constituents and not being afraid to sit in that hot seat, even when you've made a decision that might not make them happy. And I think that by conveying those values and conveying that approach to these people, I really feel that we can find common ground and start moving forward finally.
And outside of politics, tell us about Brendyn Morgan's interests and hobbies. What are you into?
Oh, man, I got a lot of them. I was a paratrooper in the military, and so skydiving is a hobby that if it wasn't so expensive, I'd be doing it every day. But there's that. I love to ride my motorcycle. I just got a Royal Enfield, and so that's part of my campaign trail, actually. I ride around, and I canvass, and I talk to people and get ideas and spread the word. I'm also a huge plant lover, so, I got my outdoor activities, but I love to be indoors as well. I've got 3 pets, love them to death, and we're constantly, buying new plants and repotting and cooking and all these different indoor hobbies, kind of things we picked up during COVID.
And where can people go to learn more about you and help with your campaign?
Of course, yeah. So I do have a website. We're also on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. My campaign website is morganforcongress.com, and you can just click through there, see my whole platform, find contact information. If you want to volunteer, there's a contact form as well. And then you can also reach me on email. I've got a lot of my email and social media tags on all my different flyers and handouts.
Well, Brendyn, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to talk to you as the campaign gets rolling, because it seems like we're just at the beginning, and it's going to be a long road ahead.
It's going to be a roller coaster. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. That was Brendyn Morgan. He's a candidate for U.S. Congress in Illinois' 16th District. He joins us today on Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. We got to head to a break here, but you got it locked in. You got Dan Schaefer and Paul Chivari filling in on Driving It Home.
That's the sound of the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, saving you money and energy. With rebates on Energy Star appliances, so you can come back to a home full of savings. Discover more ways to save at ComEd.com/home savings. ComEd, powering lives.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Donald Trump has implemented a barbaric anti-immigration policy with mass deportations and having ICE agents showing up unannounced at people's homes, workplaces, and anywhere they suspect, separating families, ruining lives, and deporting people without any due process. But one company is taking a stand against Donald Trump. Greyhound Bus Lines has implemented a no warrant, no boarding policy. This prohibits ICE agents to enter the vehicle without a warrant. Greyhound Bus says they want to guarantee the rights and civil liberties of their passengers. Greyhound Bus is the largest inner-city bus system in the U.S., with over 1,600 destinations. Maybe this will lead to more companies stepping up like Greyhound is. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
No Patti today. She's going to be back tomorrow. It's Paul Chivari alongside Dan Schaefer here driving it home with you. Give us a call on the Credo mobile phone and text line, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-WCPT. I've already had a few people chiming in on the text line as well. If you're too shy to talk on the phone, we will read your text as well. And WCPT listeners now get 25% off for 2 years at Credo Mobile with the code WCPT25. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. In the first hour, we talked a little bit about what are the 6 wars that Trump has stopped, and we want to solicit your ideas that they could be funny, they could be real. What has Trump actually stopped? The funny ones we've gotten are the cola wars, the STDs, male pattern baldness. Real one that he stopped was the USFL's effort to supersede the NFL. He actually did stop that when he thought he was bold enough to challenge the league and compete at the same time as them. We also talked to Randy Kindle from Flair, which is a nonprofit organization that wants to stop fascism. And we just talked to Brendyn Morgan, who is a candidate for U.S. Congress in the Illinois 16th District. We talked a little bit about mail-in voting and how Donald Trump wants to put in an executive order that would stop mail-in voting. And this is also right around the time that Newsmax settled with Dominion for $67 million. Yeah. So, I mean, one thing...
That's a bargain compared to what Fox had to pay.
Right. Oh, yeah, because weren't they... Yeah, they were like a 90. Yeah. Ooh. And that kind of leads me to... it bothers me so much that the guy sitting in the Oval Office pushes the lie that the 2020 election has been stolen from him. And I'd like to think that he has the power to open up an independent investigation or panel, even though that would probably be incredibly compromised. But what's stopping him from trying to push that belief, other than the fact that it's a total lie? But you would think that at this point, if he's staking his entire reputation on it, you'd think that now that he has the power and the office, that he would actually be rounding people up and actually trying to do something about it.
When you talk about investigations and not wanting things to come to light, two words come to mind for me: Epstein files.
Yes, that's what I thought you were going to say.
He probably just wants nothing to happen, whether it is Fox News, Newsmax, Epstein. He just wants things to go away. Mm-hmm. That's just the way that he operates.
I thought it was funny with the House Oversight Committee intending to release the Epstein files.
Yeah, what are you going to release?
Right? Yeah. And, well, I love how the first person they talked to was Bill Barr, which
by all means,
who was overseeing the Justice Department when Jeffrey Epstein mysteriously hung himself or whatever happened.
Sure.
Yeah, with the
Bill Barr, who we also talked about, Iran-Contra, which Bill Barr during the Bush administration, like, was Christmas Eve or right around Christmas, where he was like just parking everybody and nobody will ask about it.
Oh, yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bill Barr, totally stellar integrity individual.
The same Bill Barr that also said that the 2020 election was not compromised enough to influence it one way or another. Yeah. Which would be great if he was a little bit more vocal about that one.
I trust him as far as I can throw him.
Hey, without screening this call, I already know who we got on line one. It's Roosevelt, and I know you got a lot of opinions about Donald Trump and everything we're talking about, Roosevelt. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, my friends. Thank you for taking my call, and hello to both of you.
Hello.
Okay, so when he said what you guys repeated about 2 or 3 times so far about him having 6 deals or some garbage that he said, it reminded me instantly of Melania when she borrowed Michelle Obama's speech. That's what these guys do. They take somebody else's credit, like he's going to take a lot of credit down the line that Biden did, like all these jobs that he created.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's not in the hole yet as far as job numbers. And the other one is the fact that he fired that lady that was doing the accounting.
Labor's report, yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing, guys. Speaking of Melania, what did you guys think, or what did you make of the letter that Zelensky gave to Trump to give to Melania? Do I have it right? Was that a letter from Zelensky's wife to Melania?
I'm not familiar with this, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah. He leaned over Zelensky. This time he had a suit, by the way, which, by the way,
he did.
That guy, Glenn, boyfriend of Arjun Taylor Greene, he made a comment, and Zelensky's very sharp.
Oh, yeah.
And he fired
Zelensky called him out.
Back.
He was like, I changed my suit.
He
didn't.
told him. Yeah, no, he told him, you wore the same suit you wore last. Zelensky told him.
Yeah.
So back to the letter. So Zelensky leans over and he takes out a letter and gives it to Trump to give to Melania. Or do I have it all wrong?
No, that's what I'm reading right here. The BBC is saying that Zelensky said the letter was to thank Melania for raising awareness about at least 19,500 Ukrainian children his government says have been abducted by Russia since its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which is technically genocide, I believe, by the UN.
By definition.
Yeah, by definition, yeah. But that's a whole separate conversation. But
minor detail.
And I'm not even sure about Melania's awareness that she's raised about that.
No, but here's the thing that I noticed, guys. I don't know if you noticed it. Within the first 15 seconds of Zelensky opening his mouth, he thanked him 3 times. I rewinded it. Sure enough, 3 times plus the letter. That was 4 times he thanked him. Because last time, the VP, Squirrel Cheeks, I call him Squirrel Cheeks, the VP told him to, where was his gratitude? Remember how they piled up on him?
Right, yeah.
They were merciless with him.
Yeah.
As far as gratitude, they wanted him to just bend the knee. And this time Zelensky was very, very smart. And see what you think of this, guys. I believe Zelensky's doing this with this thank you and all this and buttering him up because he doesn't want to give any land. It's ridiculous. Trump's idea of a deal is to give Putin what he wants.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I think Zelensky's playing because I believe that John Bolton mentioned this over the weekend in some a political show.
Probably on CNN, knowing John Bolton.
Yeah. And because supposedly John Bolton was saying he's got to, basically butter him up and treat him like a kid, and say, oh, good boy, and thank him constantly. So I believe that's the way that Zelensky and even the European representatives that they were there too. I believe they were saying that. We didn't see that or hear that, but from what I heard in Spanish, this was this morning. They were saying that each representative from Europe or each political leader or whatever you want to call it only had 2 minutes to talk to Trump.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Paul and I were talking about this earlier about like when the cameras were in the room, everybody's like, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. And then they went into the closed door where, my opinion, it's allegedly, they basically just laid it all out like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You can't do this. This is how it's going to work. And that's it. And suddenly Donald Trump is the lone island because Europe is like, no, we're not doing this. Like, no, we're not playing your games anymore because it's us and you and Putin. I feel like that's what happened behind closed doors. I'm curious to see what actually materializes. I really am. I don't know, but we'll see.
And in closing, guys, wasn't the whole point, because he says there was not going to be any ceasefire in front of Zelensky, wasn't that the whole point of going to Alaska?
Sure. Yeah. He said that if he didn't leave with a ceasefire, that there would be sanctions. There was no ceasefire, and there are no sanctions.
And remember too, last Monday, I believe, when Trump was talking about that Kennedy Center thing, he did mention the fact that there was going to be some serious consequences if Putin doesn't do the ceasefire deal. Yeah.
I'm waiting to see it.
Because remember, last Monday, he wasn't in Alaska until Friday. Friday is when I believe that they talked. Friday or Saturday, I don't remember.
It was Friday.
But anyway, he did mention that there was going to be some serious consequences, he says. And nothing happened.
It didn't happen.
So Putin just ate him up. Ate his lunch, took his lunch.
Everything that he wanted.
Yep.
And with the red carpet being rolled out in front of him.
Yeah, he looked like an idiot. Yeah. I swear to God, man.
Sure did.
Hey, Roosevelt, thank you so much for the call. We got to jump to a break here. When we come back, we're going to continue with your phone calls right here on Driving It Home. Patti Vasquez, we got Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer filling in.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a couple of showers possible. Temperatures falling back into the upper 60s with light north winds. On Wednesday, we'll see a chance of showers in the morning, otherwise partly sunny, and a high temperature of 75 degrees. Thursday, sunny, 76 for the high temperature. Friday, sunshine with a high of 80. Saturday, sunny, high of 82. Sunday, lots of sun, and a high of 74 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 77.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
For the longest time, it was hard for me to even get out of the house, much less do a backside 180. It took me a bit to understand what was going on, but eventually I learned I had anxiety. Now I'm getting help for it and feeling so much better. Sure, some days are better than others, but the whole thing about getting out of the house, that's not really an issue anymore.
Mental health care is working. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down. I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge in finding treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Learn more at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Is credit card or other debt making it difficult to pay your rent or mortgage? Home insecurity is often the unintended consequence of an inability to pay mounting credit card debt, student loans, or medical debt. But by working with a nonprofit credit counselor, you can avoid or reduce the risk of eviction or foreclosure while tackling debt for good. For more information about how nonprofit credit counseling can help, visit nfcc.org. Made possible in part by the nonprofit Wells Fargo Foundation.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez. Where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Patty's out today. She's back tomorrow. We're driving it home. It's Paul Chivari alongside Dan Schaefer. We've been taking your calls on the Credo mobile phone and text line, 773-763-9278. And on the line right now, we've got Paul from Seattle. He's been waiting patiently. We missed him in the first hour, but he joins us now here in the second hour. Paul, thank you so much for calling in.
Hey, Paul.
Gentlemen. I know you're both looking behind you. Where? Right?
It's like you're in the studio. What's happening?
Remember how I'll tell you one thing is Zelensky missed a golden opportunity. He didn't think of it. But what he should have said while the cameras were on him is, Mr. President, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, if you can stop this war and return Ukraine to its pre-war status, you definitely deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, and I will nominate you personally. And the rest of the room would have said, second, we will all second. And then it's out in the public. Trump thinks he wants that more than he wants to support Putin. You have to play to this guy's greed and gluttony. And frankly, if he did, okay, give him the damn Nobel Peace Prize. Who cares, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in support of that if he was able to stop this war and actually get an actual agreement between these two sides, and Ukraine doesn't lose an ounce of land. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Well, and it's nothing. There's no shame because the War of 1812 between the United States and the British, where frankly the United States attacked the British in what is now Canada.
Mm-hmm.
The treaty. We basically returned all annexed lands that both sides had, gotten from the other side back to their original. That okay, just everybody give it back. That's the way the War of 1812 ended. It was all the territories that were annexed by each side were given back. So it's like if we don't consider that shame, that I can't. And I think if he would have said that, he would have. That's really getting down on both knees to say that.
No, and
you definitely deserve this Nobel Peace Prize, and I would be the first to nominate you. I will nominate you myself. That gives the rest of the room the cue to say, here, yeah, and we will second the nomination. That's almost in the bag, practically, if he were to do it. But anyway, about gerrymandering, the thing is, I've said this about the Constitution, about the law itself, and about gerrymandering. It's just if the Constitution and the way the court rules things, and the Roberts Court, and it's become more and more in modern times that they make a ruling and you go, really? It's void of intuitive sense. You don't have to be a lawyer to intuitively understand a ruling. But when the law, if that's not the case, you make an ass of the law. That it's like, wait. In other words, justice has to also make intuitive sense to us. It has to appeal to our sense of justice. And gerrymandering just doesn't make any sense for the court to say, "Oh no, we can't. We hands off there. It's a political question." Because what we have here is it's the minority being ruled by the minority, the majority being ruled by the minority in such a way that the majority can never win it back. I mean, how is that sensible? Because when they're drawing maps by computers now, it would be easy. Any gerrymandering computer app could draw districts that have an equal number of Republicans and Democrats. Yeah. Why should there be a disproportionate? And what you're really doing there is fighting over but to see that, when we have, over 1 million people more voting for Democrats, 1.4, 1.5 more Democrats getting votes in an election, and yet places like Wisconsin's one of the worst, where they hold, the Republicans get 48% of the vote, and they hold 62% of the seats.
Correct.
And in the state legislature, it's just
Michigan's
that
not
doesn't
much
make
better.
sense.
Honestly, Illinois is not much better on the reverse. Honestly, my opinion, if Houston is Houston, let Houston be its own district. You don't need to dissect it to do suburbs and this and that, and that's on the Republican side. Illinois is not a stranger to gerrymandering on the other side as well. I do feel like we just need to make sure that every voter is represented. We don't need to falsely draw lines. That's just
right.
And apparently it's lawful for Texas to do that within the 10-year period of a census. It's not with California, so they've got to pass a piece of legislation to do that, to confront what Texas is doing. But in general, just make every vote count. Every person deserves a vote. They deserve the right to vote, the availability to vote. They don't need to wait 8 hours in line to vote. And their vote should count. And so the whole gerrymandering thing, in my opinion, is just have the lines drawn proportionally to where they are, right? Like, there's no reason that, I think there was one district in Illinois where it spans 13 miles in a singular, that does not make sense at all.
But Dan, here's the thing, is that if we would reapportion Congress the way it should be,
sure,
a U.S. congressional district is 752,000 people.
Congress should be 1,000 people.
A district, the Constitution says 30,000 was the original for representative. Okay, so if we reapport, and we haven't had a reapportionment, I think, since 1921. Is when we got 435.
No, right. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we've grown more than twice that much since then. I think, probably 2.5 times since 1921. And here's the thing: we could have representatives. Who don't all go to Washington D.C. You could still have, for a district, you could have sub-districts where the representatives mostly stay home in their state, and then district whatever, Illinois District 16 or whatever Paul lives in, it would be broken up, and so that we could really still have a representative per 30,000. It's just that the main representative in 16 it goes to Washington D.C., but they still have to speak for the sub-districts. They vote certain ways too, so that you wouldn't have gerrymandering wouldn't matter. It would shake itself out if you have smaller squares. You know what I mean?
Well, and the other thing is the representatives, House Reps, they were only supposed to represent a certain number of people. They are representing so many more. And so, like I said, that the House of Representatives should be 1,000 as opposed to 435.
Exactly, or maybe more.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. You look at this. I noticed this. I was looking at Matt Gaetz' district. And, of course, it's gerrymandered. And, he slammed the Democrat was it 3-1 in one election? But what I noticed is, okay, so maybe Democrats don't bother to vote because they're gerrymandered out. But guess what? Neither do Republicans, because they're guaranteed to win.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's a 752,000 district. It's a full district in that part of Florida, and only like 200,000 people voted.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. So in other words, they got it in the bag, so they don't even come out. The majority doesn't even come out to vote because it's already in the bag. I mean, that's just BS. That's just, and I don't see how the court can say, oh no, we can't. It's a political question. No, it's the voters have the power. No, you don't have the power if the map is drawn and the rules are made so that the majority always stays in the representative minority.
Paul, they've expanded the House of Representatives once before. They've expanded the Supreme Court once before. They've even split the Dakotas because they wanted 2 new senators in the Republican. Things can move. Things can move.
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is, do we have representation, which I do think that we do not currently in this current American society. I'll get off my soapbox.
You look at North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Alaska, and Nebraska. Those 6 states together have 12 senators. They represent 2.3% of the American population.
New York
that's
gets
way
2 senators.
In California. I mean, it's just, and I mean, so we have all of these basically proxy representations from the Electoral College to the Senate to gerrymandering. The United States, the people of America are. This is not, as it says in Article 4 of the Constitution, we are supposed to be guaranteed a Republican form of government. Not if you can say that, but that's just disingenuous. It's not really a Republican form of government if the rules are written so that the people are not fairly represented. That's not it. That's not it.
Hey, Paul, we got to jump to a break, but I thank you so much for calling. But I got to say that both you guys are crazy if you want 1,000 people in Congress. I can't keep track of the 435 we have right now. But yeah, representative government is something that we don't necessarily have right now, and we need to improve. And, I think term limits is something that we got to talk about before gerrymandering even starts. But Paul, thank you so much for calling in today.
Hey, take care, guys. Yep.
We got to head to a break. That was Paul on the Credo mobile and text line. You can give us a call, 773-763-9278. More Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, Paul Chivari, and Dan Schaefer filling in coming up.
The Sports Cubicle. Economics professor at Smith College, Massachusetts, Andrew Zimbalist.
When Chicago is approached, or Illinois is approached for new public funds to build yet another stadium, it shouldn't be, hey, this is going to be an economic boon for the city. It's not going to be. It should be, how much is it worth to us culturally to keep these teams here?
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Chivari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
If you're caring for someone with COPD, you probably have a lot of questions. Caregivers juggle many roles. The right resources can help. The COPD Caregivers Toolkit is a free resource that provides information about COPD to help you prepare for doctor visits, support a healthy home, and take care of yourself. Visit nhlbi.nih.gov/COPD-caregivers.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
It's Paul Chivari and Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti. She's going to be back tomorrow. I want to thank everybody listening on WCPT 820, KKNW Seattle 1150, and AM 950 Progressive Minnesota. We've been talking about a lot of things today, and we haven't even really gotten into the Nobel Peace Prize stuff because there are other candidates aside from Donald Trump. And while it would be appealing on one hand if he was able to officially stop this war, although we've got less than 2 months before they name the recipient, so I mean he's got a lot of work to do this week if he really wants it. Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay, put me on the spot.
Who are your people?
My people. Okay,
because I'm Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Shut up. She bought books for kids.
She's great.
She gives half of her fortune away every year to charity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got you.
Never started a war.
Okay.
Okay.
The late Pope Francis for his unstoppable.
Honestly, if there was a way to can they do that?
I think. Well, so it closed in late January,
okay.
So he hadn't passed. I don't think by the time that
his
nomination was put in. So
he was cool. He's got my vote.
He was nominated by Dag Inge Ulstein, and for his unstoppable contribution to promoting binding and comprehensive comprehensive peace and fraternization between people, ethnic groups, and states. And some of these names I just don't know. Jeff Halper, for having worked tirelessly to protect the basic rights of Palestinians from oppression, both from Israeli occupation regime and violent settlers. He was nominated by Ingrid Fiska. She also nominated Issa Amro for the same thing. Francesca Albanese was nominated by Aidan O'Riordan for her work as the UN Special Rapporteur for the West Bank and Gaza, and her tremendous and courageous work to highlight the destruction of Gaza by Israel. I feel like in this moment, though, people that are putting in the effort for the Gaza-Israeli conflict, those are the people that I think are probably doing the most work for peacemaking right now versus, Donald Trump, who said he solved the Armenia and Azerbaijan conflict, even though opinions are divided over whether that'll ensure stability, or the Republic of Congo and Rwanda, where I think they signed a peace agreement, but wasn't there even was it like attacks carried out since then?
I think one of the leaders actually questioned his involvement of whether it actually made an impact.
Yeah, and those are some of the 6
Same
wars that
India.
he's claiming.
India was like, we didn't really hear from him. So, okay.
Oh yeah, no, India's like totally dismissing the fact that he did anything. They oppose any outside intervention. But Cambodia and Thailand is another one that he agreed to.
Cambodia, they were like, we never heard from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the things that he's claiming, but I don't think it's enough to make him a Nobel Prize winner. The funny part is Branko Grims, whoever that is, Slovenian politician, he nominated Elon Musk.
Oh my God!
For his consistent commitment to the fundamental human right to freedom of expression and thus to peace. So there are some Hail Marys on this one as far as people that what they've done to deserve this award. And then there's been organizations like Dag Ulstein, and so a Norwegian professor wants the January 6th committee to be nominated for steadfastly defending the principles of democracy, law and order, and human rights, putting these principles above political views. Hostages and Missing Families Forum, nominated by Brad Schneider, right here in Illinois, for their extraordinary humanitarian leadership, including efforts to maintain international focus on hostages' fates, providing essential support to affected families, and advocating accountability for these barbaric crimes, as well as many, many more who have been more or less officially nominated through what we can find out. So basically, Nobel does not release, they seal the nominations for 50 years, and then they don't kind of advocate or confirm or deny nominations. But we know that this October we'll find out who the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize winner is. The current president seems to think that he deserves it.
Entitled to, because he's an entitled. I can't say it on the air.
Yeah. So, can you name the 4 presidents who have won the Nobel Peace Prize?
I actually cannot.
Well, one. One was from our lifetime and recently, and also has ties to this very city.
Obama.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he won in 2009.
Clinton?
Clinton, no. But after Clinton left office, a former president, for his humanitarian efforts, think building houses.
Gore?
No, think building houses. Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, Carter.
Yeah, Carter.
Yeah. Okay.
And then founder of the League of Nations, or one of the founders of the League of Nations, Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
And
Did
then
FDR would, or no?
No, but his cousin, Teddy, for the Japanese-Russo conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are your 4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I believe Carter was the only one that it happened afterwards, but I could be wrong about that.
In my opinion, Carter was one of the most selfless presidents that we've ever had.
Absolutely.
He also got the shaft handed to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love Carter. Yeah.
Hey, let's get to a few phone calls before we wrap up here on the Credo mobile and text line. We've got Eduardo from Tampa wanted to chime in. Eduardo, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, Paul, Dan. What do you guys think about I don't think this is going to be a big deal because China can move on Taiwan, and that's what's happening off the coast of Venezuela. 4,000 troops, 3 ships, a submarine. It seems kind of like overkill for like drug patrol. So, but it could be like intimidation, maybe. But otherwise, he's going to ruin his chances of getting the Nobel Peace Prize if he does make a move.
Yeah, I honestly, my opinion, I think China is overstepping, but I also feel that they're not being checked, right? And when you're a country that owns over half of our debt, like what pawns do we have to play, really? So I think we do need to keep them in check. I do think that they need to realize that their lines of sovereignty end at a certain point. We'll see how the peace president decides to address that. I don't know.
Eduardo, thanks for the call. We're going to get to some other calls here. We've got, you know what, I clicked on it. Dave, I normally don't let people call in twice to a show, but you're such a heavy contributor to our station. I saw you want to talk about the Nobel Peace Prize, so what do you got for us, Dave?
Yeah, no, I don't normally call in twice either because I'm honoring the late Teresa from the Decay days when she only said one call per show. That's been violated a few times. Anyway, what's to stop Trump from making an imitation or phony Nobel Prize like he did back in the 80s with that phony Time magazine cover that he had in his office?
I guess at the very least, like, the Nobel Prize predates, like, all of our lives. You know, it's such a prestigious award that even if he made up something, as the Little Lebowski Urban Achiever or whatever, he, it still wouldn't be as prestigious as the Nobel Prize.
And wasn't he over there buttering up somebody from Sweden or from the Nobel?
But knowing him, you got to grease the wheel, I suppose,
Sweden
right?
Sweden or Norway, I can't remember which. Anyway,
I think it's Norway.
I just thought I'd throw that in about the phony thing. So
I appreciate that.
Let me clear off so somebody else can get one more call in.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave, thanks so much.
All right, guys.
John from Palatine, you wanted to talk about Trump not trying to stop the war in Ukraine. And on one hand, I believe that, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Man, I was having this stuff on Instagram with Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN guy, coming out talking about the Democrats, that the war started with the Democrats in office. Dude, this guy need to take himself and stay with sports and stop coming down on the Democrats because they didn't start no war, okay? And I guarantee you this, buddy, if Joe Biden would have been in there, the war would have been over because Ukraine would have finished these guys off already. These guys was winning.
Yep.
And they fell apart because this idiot that we got for a president stopped sending in weapons. But these idiots want to blame the Democrats for a war that nobody started. And Trump's not trying to stop a war. He don't care about them people. And people should wake up and see the writing on the wall. I'm an Army veteran myself. I'm not. You get just people just stupid or just ignorant. Pay attention to what you're watching, man.
Well, thanks for the call, John. Hey, don't be a stranger. This is like the first time I've heard you call any of the shows that I've been involved in. So don't be a stranger. We want to hear more from you, okay?
Yeah, I really like that. That was good.
Hey, with you guys on, I'll call again. I listen every day, man. Tom Hartman, Joan Esposito, Patti Vasquez. I try to get in as soon as I call. I call Tom Hartman almost every day.
You are one of our favorite people.
Well, thank you so much.
I love this show, and I call these people out here every day. Listen to 820, WCPT. The right channel, the truth, the facts.
Thank you so much, John. Hey, we're down to the final minute of today's show, and I feel like 2 hours is not enough time to talk about some of the subjects that we talked about today. But want to thank everyone for contributing. We talked about who are better Nobel Peace Prize candidates. We talked about which real and fictional wars Trump has claimed to have stopped. We talked to Randy Kindle from the Flair for Liberation and Resistance Everywhere, as well as Brendyn Morgan, a candidate for U.S. Congress in Illinois' 16th District. We got Patty coming back tomorrow. Dan, thank you so much for co-hosting today.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure whenever I see you. And You're on later this week.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah.
Friday. So, I guess I'll verify that for you. That was Dan Schaefer. I'm Paul Chivari. Thank you so much for listening. WCPT 820, KKNW Seattle, and AM 950 Progressive Minnesota. You've been driving it home.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold,